Hi, I'm Akiva Goldsman, and this is my career in 4 minutes.
Squeaks.
You have a gun?
I was just robbing the place, you know?
Is that still your intention?
No, it isn't.
Well then, I suppose the polite thing to do would be to offer you a cup of tea.
The first one was The Client. It was actually the second screenplay that I wrote. The first screenplay was a script called Indian Summer that became a movie called Silent Fall. I met with Joel Schumacher, and they were about 2 months off, and they were throwing away the old script. And so I went from, hi, how are you, to a conversation to literally in a limo with him. 2 days later, he was going to Cannes to sell Falling Down, giving me a bunch of notes, and I was getting on a plane to fly and meet with Susan Sarandon. What I did on Batman Forever, and this will sound remarkable, is actually tried to make it less comedic. It was in the process of converting. Robin Williams was in it, then he wasn't. Jim Carrey came in. Michael was going to do it, he wasn't. Then Val came in, and the script was very, very broad when I got my hands on it, and I made it less broad. I did Time to Kill, which I really enjoyed, and then Batman and Robin, which was, our own personal car wreck. I think the tone misses, pretty substantially, and it's interesting because I don't think it's hard to realize it doesn't work. And yet people still behave as if we meant to do it. I grew up around people with childhood schizophrenia. There was a group home in my house that my parents founded, so it was a very personal subject to me. And I read the biography of John Nash, and I thought it was a really extraordinary object, but it was sort of a phenotypical treatment. It was without John's real, not participation, but participation italicized, which is he acknowledged and was supportive of the biography, but didn't really interview for it. So it was really the painting of the outside of a man's life. So I took that as an opportunity to sort of interpolate and created a sort of a metaphor for schizophrenia, which is the idea of these visual hallucinations that you don't know are hallucinations till the end. I'm thrilled that it finally got made. It sort of wallowed around. Wallowed is not the right. It sort of leapt from iteration to iteration. And by the time I got hold of it, I sort of did a bunch of vaguely radical things, including move it to New York. I had worked with Francis Lawrence on Constantine, and I had worked with Will Smith on I, Robot, so we all sort of combined forces. I didn't know Da Vinci Code until Ron and Brian sent it to me. I read it. I thought it was a very compelling narrative. We set out to sort of adapt a giant behemoth of a bestseller, which is in its own right kind of complicated because, if you take something less known, you get more latitude when it comes to adaptation. And the more popular the object, the more strict you find yourself having to be when it comes to the actual adherence to the novel. And that's a mixed blessing because books are not movies. I love Star Trek, and my friend J.J. Abrams, who I've worked with on Fringe, and directs them, and I just sort of bat my eyes and talk my way into cameos. Loved the book. I loved the book when I read it in the 80s. I just thought it was an extraordinary expression of this very odd genre called magical realism, where you have the coexistence of sort of bricks and mortar drama and flying white horses. For me, it's uncynical expression of the hope for faith in the universe.
I do steal things, yeah, from time to time. Lately, I've been having a bit of a disagreement with an old boss, though.
Peter Lake. I want to kill him, and I want her to stay dead.
What's the best thing you've ever stolen?
I'm beginning to think I haven't stolen it yet.